serve, and we can continue to make wise decisions on their behalf. We pray as always that you'll watch over and care for each of us as we leave this place today and keep us safe, and pray for forgiveness of our sins and shortcomings. In Christ's name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Toller?
Here.
Commissioner Foster?
Here.
Commissioner Miller?
Here.
Commissioner Gould?
Present quorum, I'll officially call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. Glad to see a big crowd this morning. First thing on the agenda, need to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on July 26th. Everybody had a chance to review them. Any questions or corrections? Second.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Toller?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Next on the agenda, public comments. Yes, sir.
I just want to kind of inform you and the committee what the Republican Party is doing. We're doing two informational petitions about Second Amendment sanctuary and the ATV side-by-sides. Now, granted, these are just informational. What we're trying to do is get a consensus of the 17,000 people in this county, what they want to do. The problem is they don't have a lot of say coming to meetings because they work. And so the ideal is if I get 5,000 to 6,000 signatures, it's saying what they want to do. Some people talking about, I was talking to Lance about the cost of this thing too. So, especially the side-by-side, it's a cost thing for the county. But some people are now suggesting that if they really want it, that they're going to have to come up with either with a GoFundMe account or something like that to help put out for the feasibility studies and also help pay for some of the signing. But that's what we're at to right now, because the people are hounding us saying, hey, this is our county, it's what we want. So I'm presenting to you as what we're doing, get these signatures. It's not, a formal thing in the sense that we just want to see what the response is. And especially after what just happened yesterday in Springfield. A concealed carry person off the department stopped a guy in body armor for going into the Walmart store in Springfield on Fallon Road. So we got to keep that in our forefront. We can't let this slide. And that's all I have to say. And then with that also, that people are talking about can we get maybe one meeting a year in the evening so people can come and voice their opinions. That's our side.
All right, thanks, Stan. Anybody else?
I'm happy to report our first installment due date went extremely smooth. We're finishing up the claim process payments, and I'll be working on the disbursement next week.
Good deal. Sure the schools will be pleased with that.
Max, also, the petition date for new candidates who want to run in the 2020 election will be September 3rd. And they can come in the office and pick up their packets and start doing petitions and everything for that. So September 3rd to Tuesday.
I'm sure we'll have all that on the website
Yeah.
and all that. So. Committee reports. And Mike.
We had a 911 meeting, and we had, of course, Scott is always there, and he's on board, but we had the Alexander County Sheriff there too at the meeting. September 10th, the calls are going to be transferred, Alexander County calls are going to be transferred up to Union County. And I believe he said that the 27th and 28th were going to migrate to the new policy. So, we'll probably spend the night here. But,
Yeah, I'll be working on my night.
do you have anything to add?
It was nice having Sheriff Brown come up, and they're really wanting to try to work together, and same way with the radio communications and things. So I think there's some good things coming in the future with neighboring counties, and I'm excited to work with them. So it was nice having the meeting.
Anybody else? Just an update on the animal control thing. We're working on putting together an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Anna to present to them once we approve it. Legal is working on that, I hope, and so forth. So again, that's moving along. So is that it? Building permits.
You have one building permit, parcel number 050903104104C. It's at 275 Spanish Bluff Road in Anna for Richard and Lori Loker. It's a new home, no floodplain, previously subdivided, recommended for approval.
Any questions? Motion?
Make motion.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Before we get on into the agenda, Lori, the new city administrator at Anna, I don't know if everybody, you want to stand up. Glad to have you here. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Good, thank you. Appreciate it. Old business, resolution filling vacancy in office of state's attorney until such office is filled in the 2020 general election. We're still going to keep that tabled for the time being. Leave it on there, please. New business, payment of bills. Everybody had a chance to look at the bill list. Anybody have any questions or information?
I move that we pay our bills.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is approval of ordinance amending Article 13 of Chapter 36 of the Union County Code of Ordinances and establishing a predictable fee schedule pursuant to such and such Illinois statute. State of Illinois just put into effect a new statute on these fees, so we have to update everything and pass this. It's kind of housekeeping, but the same token, it gave us a chance to work on our fee schedule and get it more in line where it ought to be. So You got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, it was passed, it was supposed to be passed on January 1st. So it took a little while to get the cost study done when I took office. So we had to do a full cost study, for this to be done. We got that done. It's been posted in my office for 14 days before it's voted on. It takes 60 days after the ordinance is passed for it to be in effect. We will try to make contact with all the banks and everybody that uses the fee ordinance. What it is for recording fees in the office, it changes to where now it's just a flat fee instead of per page, per document recorded. I can go over the breakdown if you want me to, of where each thing goes into, or, okay.
I don't think it's
Okay.
necessary.
It's going from $40 for the first 4 pages, and then it's $1 per page after it goes, and now it's going to a $60 flat fee. We still are lower than every other county around us, so that was one thing I wanted to make sure we weren't gonna be too high. So, Jackson's just a little bit less, but they do bigger volume, so that's why. But, but any questions, let me know.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance amending the fee schedule.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is review and acceptance of financing, interest rates, and terms for new election equipment. Looking into this, with the company that we agreed to go with, they of course did financing. We decided to put it out to all the local banks to see if they wanted to give us a bid per se. I think we had 3 respond out of the 6. You want
I
to
can.
indulge in this?
Sure. Yeah, I went around to all the banks in the county. Since we were going to finance it, we wanted to keep the money in the county and local. 3 of them did not turn in offers or said that they could not beat the rate that was given, but we did have 3 turn in. Anna State Bank, US Bank, and Anna Jonesboro National Bank. All 3 submitted bids on Wednesday by 4 o'clock. We'd asked for 5 yearly payments, and the current rate we were given by the vendor was 2.99%. Anna State Bank turned in the same yearly, everybody's was the same terms, but the interest rate was 2.65% for Anna State Bank. US Bank was 2.69, and Anna Jonesboro National Bank was 2.75. So Anna State Bank had the lowest rate for 5 yearly payments. And I did work it out. You saw I worked out with John Licenzi that we could make our first payment as January 1st, 2020.
I move to accept the Anna State Bank.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Next on the agenda is approval of the Union County Sheriff's Office digital VHF radio system bid. Scott, you want to address this, please?
Sure. Good morning.
Good morning.
Back in the latter part of June, the Sheriff's Office, in conjunction with Alexander Union County 911, we put out an RFP for a new radio structure for Union County, a digital system. And the deadline for that RFP was July 12th, I believe. We had 2 vendors that submitted proposals for that. One was Roy Walker Communication, and the next was Novacom. They were asked to bid this in 2 different phases. Roy Walker Communication, I'm just going to give you the totals, was $95,232 for a radio system. Novacom was $97,253.55. Those bids were opened up, sealed bids were submitted and opened up on July 15th. Chairman Miller, Commissioner Toller was there, County Administrator Angie Johnson was there as well. Me and Chris was there when we opened those bids up. So since that time, we've had some time to review those proposals and done a lot of research. We've met with each vendor on that. We spent probably 3 hours with each vendor asking a lot of questions about the system and how they would operate. And after taking all that information into consideration, I'm prepared this morning to make a recommendation to the board as to who we want to provide our radio system for us. So, and that recommendation would be Novacom to do our radio system, and that we would ask that the board even consider doing both phases of the system. It was bid out in phase 1 and phase 2, but we're asking to consider that and vote on that this morning, whether you would entertain doing both phases at the same time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You have a sheet there before you that's got the breakdown, and it's a spreadsheet that gives you all the proposals, what was considered in the proposal, what was given to us, the prices, and the equipment that's going to be provided.
You guys have any questions? Now's the time to speak up.
Which one has the body alarms? They both have the body alarms.
Both the radio systems, the portable systems that we discussed with each vendor will have the man down feature and the panel system on portable radios. Yeah, 2 different features on them. That I feel is very important for us.
Yeah. Do these operate through the internet, or do they operate,
One system that Walker's proposed would rely on the internet service for connectability. The other system does not. It's done through what's called TurboLink, which is essentially another repeater talking back to the other repeater.
and I'm not going in favor of the internet, but if it's as slow as what I have at home, that would definitely be an issue.
That's the problem, because some of the side areas that we would only limit to certain internet providers, and I don't know that there would be any guarantee that if it would go down, then we're going to be out of our radio system, and they would, how responsive they would be to our request to get it repaired or operational again.
I feel like this is a very important issue, talking about lives here, and as rural as our county is, it can be a problem, so forth. I appreciate your recommendation. I will, any other questions? I'll make a motion that we go with Novacom, authorizing both phases, and authorize the sheriff to work out final details of the contract.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Commissioner Pitts?
Yes.
Commissioner Toller?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Next on the agenda is subcontractor agreement by and between Union County and Advanced Transportation.
Good morning.
Uh-huh.
This is a follow-up from the transportation contract that I originally brought to you with Melissa Grissom Transportation. After reviewing with the lawyers on both sides, we realized that we probably couldn't cover enough liability for the county entering into contract with her. So I sought out other transportation companies in the region. An Advanced Transportation Company has a very good liability insurance program themselves. So it takes some of the onus off of us. So this contract will be a year contract, daily rate. We only have to pay what we use, which is also very nice. This will be the last, I hope, that I visit you on this year's grant for the $483,843.13 that we received from DHS. So I'm hoping to get this approved.
So you're totally pleased with this?
Yeah, I think as far as what we have available to us in the region with regards to companies that can transport this clientele, which is a high-risk clientele because they can be felony offenders. The company employs a lot of time ex-law enforcement, generally worked at the prisons, so they have experience working with inmates. So from a liability perspective, that's helpful for us as a program and as a county. They also have equipment in their cars in the ways of audio-visual, so they record in the cars as well. So they're already set to go, which is helpful for us.
Any questions? No, motion, please.
Ken?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Mr. Toller, Mr. Foster,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Gould.
We need to go into executive session. Make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Open Meetings Act to discuss employees. Second.
Mr. Pitts,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster, Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
We'll take a short 5-minute break.
Did you want to list who you want in here?